Okay.
Hey, hi Deepa.
Hey, Ahmed. So nice to see you virtually. Um, yeah, and thank you for agreeing to do this session with me on AI agents for nonprofits. Um, I wrote an article about it, and you know, as a founder of Grantorp, we have an agent that writes grants. But I just wanted to bring you on board and talk basically what are AI agents for the nonprofits, so they can get a good understanding of, you know, all these buzzwords that keeps getting thrown. And yeah, and maybe you can demo few use cases. So before we dive into that, I think it's important people understand who we are. So maybe
Yeah,
you can
exactly.
introduce yourself
These
and then,
random guys talking about AI and nonprofits. Yeah, sure. Um, my name is Amit. I'm currently based in Mumbai, but I sort of consider myself a bit of a digital nomad. Um, and I've been sort of building in the AI space for about the last 2 years, and prior to that, I was basically a technology leader, CTO at a few startups and things like that. And now, the last couple of years, I've been exploring AI in general, but also helping some customers sort of bring in more automation into their workforce. So that's sort of like the TLDR version. And
yeah.
maybe for folks that have sort of come in from, I guess, my LinkedIn network, how about you want to maybe introduce yourself, Deepa?
Yeah, so I've been in the nonprofit space my entire career. I started with United Way Mumbai, co-founded that as a really tiny team of just two people, and then have moved around countries a lot. So in Singapore, briefly worked with Habitat for Humanity, Asia Pacific, then with World Toilet Organization, and then Salesforce Foundation. I led philanthropy for them for Asia Pacific, and since then I've been always working at the intersection of technology and social impact. And I'm so excited about AI as this evolution of the technology because I feel it's the most easiest technology to work with because you don't need to really understand the tech. Tech understands you. And being in the nonprofit space and helping nonprofits adopt all different kinds of technology from cloud to blockchain, I've seen like how they struggle. Like it's so hard for them to understand or get a full grip of it, that they continue to be manual than being automated. But with this tech, they don't really need to understand anything. They can
Hmm.
just have a conversation with it, and the AI will do whatever they're asking uh, the AI to do. And so in 2022 is when I saw the power of AI firsthand myself. Like I was struggling with designing a book cover for a book that I was publishing. And I just used Midjourney to do it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And in like couple seconds, Midjourney gave me like a most stunning that
Yeah, I saw that.
I
It
used,
was it
yeah,
was a
that I
really
used
cool
to work
picture,
with.
actually, really cool
Yeah.
image.
And so that was the lightning moment for me because I'm like, wow, like this is amazing. And how can we apply this technology in the nonprofit space? Because they struggle with a lot of things, including designing their impact reports and visual storytelling and all that stuff. And so grant writing is an area that I'm familiar with, and I'm like, we got to use AI for this very time consuming task, which can take weeks. And it's so critical
Mm.
because it's literally grants is how a lot of nonprofits sustain themselves and their programs. And so we built Grantorp, which is an AI agent in 2024 January, which nobody was talking about AI agents then. Everybody was talking about AI, but we built an agentic workflow for writing those grants. All you had to do was describe it, and the AI created a plan. You reviewed the plan and said, hit generate. And at that
Mm.
point of time, you can shut your laptop and actually go out and meet your friends or go into your community, whatever you're doing, and the AI will do the thing. So we were so early, but now everybody has moved on from AI to like talking about AI agents. So I think let's start with that. Let's start with a conversation,
Mm-hmm.
just getting the foundations right. So Amit, since you are a builder in the AI space, I'd love to understand from you, what is this new AI wave all about? For
Mm.
people who keep listening the word AI, 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 like,
Yeah,
AI
yeah,
has been around, and a lot of them are like mixing it up, like they think it's all the same AI. Yeah, so maybe you can explain to them how this AI wave is different.
yeah. It's definitely. Hmm. There's so much going around. Like there's so many buzzwords being thrown around that basically it ends up confusing not just people that aren't in the space day to day, but even people like me who've been building for a while. There's just so many distractions, let's say. Uh, but if you had to sort of pinpoint uh, at something and kind of like think about what AI actually is, it's the first time ever that a computer understands what a human's trying to ask it to do. So what I mean by that is, you've got we've always had automation with especially with computers and the internet and with phones and that sort of thing. But it was that sort of automation was slightly different because someone, usually developers and product builders, would have to create a user experience. So they would have to create a screen, they'd have to create buttons on the screen, web pages, that sort of thing, to allow people to get something done, right? Basically. So, for example, great example is if you've got a CRM or HubSpot or Salesforce or something like that. Um, you need to go to their website. You need to log in. You need to press buttons to basically get some information stored in there, right? And the reason you have to do all of this clicking and pointing and that sort of thing is because the computer doesn't really understand what you want it to do. And that's why all the clicking and pointing is just basically you telling the computer, hey, this is what I want to get done. I just want this bit of text to be stored in your database. And that's it. Now, the difference now from, let's say, maybe a couple of years ago, 2.5 years ago, is when the GPTs sort of launched. What's happened since then is that it's the first time that a computer, actually understands natural language, understands what people are trying to say, or if it understands images, for example, or video, voice, and so on. And so now you don't really need to tell the computer, go click here and fill up this form and that sort of thing, because it can figure it out. So if you just want to say, okay, I need this data in there, it's got some intelligence to figure out what it needs to do. And that's the big difference here. It's intelligence that's becoming now available at scale.
That's
If
right.
that
And
helps.
so this entire, yeah, no, that's great. This is how I explain it to whenever I do seminars on with nonprofits. I'm like, it's a giant, it's just like humans. It thinks and it can figure out things, and it's very intuitive. It understands our language. We can talk to in any language. Doesn't have to be English. We can talk to it
Hmm.
in Hindi or any other language. It'll
Hmm.
understand and do the things for us. So it's the most easiest form of technology because we don't need to learn the technology, like we
That's
just
right.
need to guide it and it'll do it for us. And so it all started with chatbots, right? Like ChatGPT came out, and that was the first wave of generative AI, right? Like ChatGPT, then every other company launched their own chatbots, which is basically just a chat interface to the large language models,
Hmm.
which is trained on almost all of humanity's knowledge. And it can be mined for different things, right? Like
Yep.
I'm mining for writing grants. And now everybody is suddenly talking about AI agents. So what is the big change that's happened, say, from like 2023 to now, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great question because I think it's important to understand what an agent is. So there's obviously loads of buzzwords, but the one buzzword that I think most people should maybe try and grasp a little bit is agents um, because it's going to be important over the next few years. So, what's the difference between an agent and a chatbot? A chatbot typically is sort of like a question answer thing. So it has access to some reference knowledge or information. Maybe you give a chatbot um, 4 or 5 PDF files that describe what it is that you are uh, like give it a persona, and you ask it to sort of say, here's your knowledge. You say any questions you get, you need to respond from these documents. And so they're typically used in a question answer type situation. And maybe since we're talking about nonprofits, let's say that you've got potential donors who come to a website and they want to know, what sort of causes the nonprofit works for. And so you've obviously got the website and that sort of thing, but if they want to dig in deeper, you could deploy a chatbot there, and the chatbot would sort of have access to some information, and it could sort of engage um, the donor. The difference between that and an agent is that agents are typically deployed to get some work done. So, for example, agents usually have access to, we call them tools. So, for example, tools are, maybe a web browser. Tools could be access to your email account to read your email and that sort of thing. Um, and then agents also are useful because they sort of, once you direct an agent to work on a particular task, they can autonomously sort of figure out what are the steps. So you don't really need to tell it the steps, but it can work out that to get this task done, I need to do 1, 2, 3, and I've got access to one, and maybe two. I don't have access to this third thing, so I'm going to go and ask, the human for some information, and then it can sort of, you can go back and forth with that agent to finish this task. So does that help?
Yeah, yeah, definitely, because it's different from chatbots, because chatbots is like, as you said, it's just Q&A, like ask question and gives you answers, and it can do simple tasks like,
Yeah.
do your email, like craft small things. But when it comes to long form completion of tasks, chatbots can't do that. They're not designed for that. And but AI agents, when designed for a certain task,
Mm-hmm.
can accomplish that task on behalf of the human. Obviously, it's important to know that the human is always in the loop and is agreeing on what the agent shows them. Should I proceed with this? Should I go ahead and do this? And to put this in context, like if anybody, if you've used deep research, which is now offered by almost every other leading AI company, like Gemini has deep research. They were the very first ones to come up with deep research. um, ChatGPT has deep research, Grok has deep research.
Mm-hmm.
So the way that Gemini deep research, I love that a lot, is that you just state what is it that you want to do research about, and you just state that query, and the Gemini will craft a plan for you. Like,
Mm.
is this what you're looking to research? So and so that's where the human is in the loop. Like, you look at those little list of items and say, yeah, this is what I want to research. If you want to add something more, you can add to that list. If you want to delete something, you can delete it. And once you hit go ahead and do this for me. You can literally, as I said, leave your laptop,
Yeah.
go wherever you want to go, and come back to see like a 10-page report or a 12-page report completed by the agent. It searches like 300 plus websites and prepares the report for you. So that's agentic. That's the first, like, agent outside Grantor that I have experienced. But Grantor also works similarly. You describe your project, it creates a plan for you. You review the plan. You say, I like this, or you want to make any changes, you make changes. And then you say, generate the report for me, like grant proposal for me. So
Mhm.
these are the first couple examples of agents in that's out there. Amit, have you come across any other examples that are mainstream?
Yeah, so I think maybe last week or this week or something like that, there have been now some agents that have started to roll out. So these are agents that would help you with your maybe um, analyzing some stuff in your Google worksheets. There's some very very basic examples out there. There are some highly specialized ones that people are currently building, but they're not broadly accessible or broadly known. A lot of these agents get deployed within a company or within a business or a nonprofit and so on. So that's why they're not consumer products, because they're designed to do very specific tasks usually. But if you keep a watch out for what Google and Microsoft and some of the other guys, will roll out the rest of this year, I think we might see some agents there. But I think you touched on something really important: plan and planning. So agents typically, the at least the ones that are effective, are really good at planning. So as a first step before actually performing the task. Wherever you see a plan pop up, usually that's an agent. This is a good way to sort of describe that.
Yeah, and I think we're very early in this AI agents wave. The real like test would be when these agents can actually go and interact on the web on your behalf, like which we
Ah,
saw a little bit with Operator with
mhm.
ChatGPT, but that's right now pretty slow. Like the human might just do
It
that.
is, yeah,
Right, like faster. Like the whole idea is that it's able to perform faster and that you don't have to be engaged at all stages. You can at some point just delegate it and it'll do the task for you.
yeah.
And so I'm really excited to reach that stage. For me, ideally, I love to build a grant submission agent, which can actually open like a donor's website, open the form, copy paste that information, upload the documents, and submit. So in that case, it's actually stepping out and interacting
Mm,
with the website. You know,
yeah.
so that's I think we can say we reached like a more complex play of AI agents. But right now, they can be built to do specific tasks
Hmm.
within your own setting. You know,
Yeah, and I think that there's actually there are a couple of sort of sneak previews that we could probably show you today. So I'm excited to sort of get that going. But yeah, we'll come to it. Um, Grant Orb, maybe do you want to talk a little bit about Grant Orb and how you're sort of helping with grant writing? Because I think some of the folks might have not. Yeah. So, by
yeah.
the way, grantorb.com, right? That's the website.
Yeah, grantorp.com. It was my idea as I said, in 2022 is when I saw like the power of just describing and then, talking with Midjourney, which is like an image generation model, and it gave me such a beautiful image. And I didn't have to go through the process of finding a visual designer, and I don't know how much they charge. I'm like, I don't even know how to begin this process. Where should I go find them? How do I trust them? What if they don't do the task the way I expected it, and I've
Yeah,
already
I've
done
been
all this.
burned on Fiverr before.
Yeah, exactly. Me too, many times. So here I'm in full control. If I don't like my first version, I can iterate on it. And iteration is again few seconds. And so that's where this idea came to me, and I'm like, how can we apply this technology for nonprofits? And and I started looking at what are some of the most time consuming tasks in a nonprofit space. So one is obviously there are lots of time consuming tasks. The nonprofit people barely get to step out of the office and be in the communities. But grant writing is very essential task, right? Like it
Mm.
is, it's survival, literally.
Mm.
Like this is how they get money for their programs. So grant writing is essential. And then reporting is also very essential. And sometimes
Mhm.
the requirements are that you got to report every quarter. So every quarter, people are sitting and writing grant
Reports.
reports.
Mm.
Yeah. So I wanted to automate that, and we, I've just got a couple of my friends come build me an AI agent in 2023, which was relatively, uh, people weren't thinking from that point of view. Like people were still thinking chat interfaces, like,
Yep.
but it was completely describe your project, in 3 lines. You don't have to be too descriptive. You can just
Mm-hmm.
say, I'm in Vancouver. I want to run a soup kitchen for 3 years, and this is my budget. You know,
Mm.
and it'll create a plan, which is based, and it can do it for any grant application. So different donors have different application forms. It can do
Yep.
it for, we've trained an AI that can create custom forms for every application. And create an outline. You just look at the outline, the problem statement, the solution, goals and objectives, everything. You look at the outline and you review it, make any changes if you want to. Basically, you're just approving the work of AI.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and once you're happy with it, there's a button that says generate my proposal. And
Yep.
it takes like 3 minutes to write like a 10-page document. Uh,
Mm.
and if you want to make any changes, you can come and do update with AI. We've AI powered like all the critical steps that are required for success of a grant, which is like do an eligibility assessment, see how I qualify for this grant. The AI keeps the assessment criteria in mind when writing the grant. So anything that a person would have to keep in their mind, we've offloaded it to the AI because we don't want people um, to be remembering 100 things. Our goal is to actually free up their time so they can do the real
Yeah.
work.
So that they can, so they're not tied to actually sort of sitting at a desk and kind of like.
No, this grant writing can take weeks. I wrote
Oh.
I prepared a pitch once, which was in 2022 for a crowdfunding campaign. And just to prepare like one pager, I gave my entire weekend. And I was
Mm.
in Dubai on holidays, and I was like, and people were like, "Why aren't you coming out with us?" I'm like, "No, I need to submit this. I need to submit this." And so I spent 3 days to write one pager, you know,
Mm.
and so you can imagine 10-page document how much time it's going to take.
Yep. Yep.
So it is like 50 hours down to like 3 minutes, literally. And that's it. So it's pretty magical. Some people aren't able to believe like uh, things like this can happen. But whenever they see a demo, they're like, oh my gosh, I've been in
Yeah.
this space forever. I've never seen something like this. This is truly incredible. So yeah,
And
that's the very first example of for grants and grant reports. But in the nonprofit space, I see so much automation like that AI agents can play a part in. One
mhm.
is like all nonprofits are engaged in storytelling, right? They have to tell a story about the cause that they're trying to address, the
Mm.
people that they are impacting.
Mhm.
And so much automation can be done right there, right? Like I
Yep.
can see like an entire like uh, describe, 2 or 3 line, like describe, they all have like newsletters and blogs and social media. Like this is how they tell stories, right? Digitally.
Yep.
And the idea is to create awareness, generate support, and hopefully to get donations.
Mhm.
And so all of that, the entire storytelling can be automated from image generation to like writing the blog, to
Yes.
posting it, even posting it on your website.
Yep.
That can be automated itself.
Yeah.
From just describing in 2 or 3 lines what is it that they want the AI to do. So that's
Yeah.
just one part of it. Second is like I've worked, as I said, like I was with Salesforce Foundation and I helped nonprofits embrace technology like cloud technology and Salesforce CRM. And I saw like how many nonprofits struggle with just creating dashboards. Dashboards are like you want to know You want to get like a good handle of your data, like how many are donating, what your donation sources are, those kind
Mm-hmm.
of things. And as you
Right.
said, now you can just chat with the CRM and
Yes,
get that information, and then ask the AI to create dashboards for you. You don't have to learn to do anything. It's
that's
all
correct.
about chatting. It's all
Yeah,
about a conversation.
and that again goes back to freeing up time and letting you do other things. Maybe actually spending time
And
on.
I just think they struggle a lot because a lot of them don't sign up to do any of this. They sign up for the cause, for the mission,
Mm,
but then they end up doing the admin work. Then they don't have the technical skill sets to deal with that old generation of technology. Like each one of them is very hard. Even sending out emailers to everybody, like it's really hard. So I think AI is going to change all of that. And once you start building AI agents for you can build simple, and that's what Amit is going to demo in a bit, how you can build simple AI agents for like really small tasks,
mhm.
that you can then just delegate.
Yeah, perfect. Actually, there are a few things here that you touched upon that I think we could demo actually because and bear in mind this is going to be maybe the first time that we're actually demoing this out to the world because it hasn't been shown to the world yet. So you might have to be forgiving if things break, but it's literally today is like the first day that this product has been shown to anyone. Um, so what I might ask you to do is, as we're sort of going through this demo, maybe if you could sort of ask me questions about what's going on, um, because I think that will make it a little bit more interesting for people watching.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. Are we ready to jump in? Oh,
Yeah, let's start.
okay, cool. I'm just gonna switch over screens. 1 second. Okay, so hopefully you can see that. Moving on. All right. So what is this? This is this. Looks like a typical chat window, um, but it's got like one big agent in there that's been all set up. This is a very generic agent that can do a lot of different things, but I think in the future, what we'll see is a lot of specialized agents that are built, purpose built for doing something. For example, a non-profit, assistant that helps people, with their day-to-day sort of admin kind of tasks. So maybe what we should do is just warm things up a little bit. So I'm gonna say, hey, hi, um, what can you do for me? And what we've done is basically, okay, so it's come back and said, it can search for information online, manage your emails, organize files, generate images. I'm not, yeah, don't think that's going to work today, but solve math problems. Okay, so now what we can see is here is that if you combine a few things here, uh, we can probably get a lot of things done, right, on a typical day. So Deepa, maybe question for you: do you have like a website in mind that that maybe a list of foundations or something like that that someone might want to put into their CRM? Um,
A list of foundations. Should I just name you like couple foundations, or maybe
um,
individual donors? Like they met somebody at an event, and potential donors, right? They're not donors yet,
hmm.
that they
um,
want to track.
so I can see that funds for NGOs. So there's a list of, just a website that
Hmm.
I quickly found. And it says there's a list of 15 donors supporting education projects. So let's say that our cause was education. Um, what we could do is just copy that link and uh, okay, we could say okay, browse, like look up um, the foundations listed here and list them for me. And what it's going to do is it's just going to you know basically use a browser to go open up that website. So can you see that? It's actually doing it itself, right? It's not me opening up that site. And so then it's going to come back with a list. There you go. All right. Now, say I want to find contact details for Spencer Foundation. So can you find contact details for all of the above? And what's happening behind the scenes is that it's going to go do a Google search for all of those nonprofits, sorry, all of those foundations, and it's going to come back with information about them.
That's pretty cool. Oh, wow.
That's a ton of time, right? Like saved right there. Um,
You know why I'm so excited about this technology? I've done like such donkey work. I'm telling you, like doing every single thing myself. Uh,
exactly. Um, so let's take this, one step further. I've got what I've got here is I've got this connected to my HubSpot account. So HubSpot is a CRM, kind of like Salesforce. Um, and if we wanted to put all of these contacts into our CRM, so all we need to do is just say, let's create company company record. I mean, I'm calling it a company record because that's HubSpot's terminology. So they've got contacts and they've got companies. So let's create a company record for each of these. All right. And so behind the scenes, um, let me quickly drag this other window here, which you probably don't want to know. Like you don't want to see behind the scenes, but
it's easy.
just to show you that it's actually doing stuff, and it's not me like doing something on a different screen. Um, but it's basically talking to HubSpot right now, and it's putting in all of those details. Oh, awesome. Okay, so it actually said that so these are from tests that I ran earlier to prepare for this call, but it actually said, oh, you know what, you've got these contacts there already, but you didn't have those ones, so I added those in for you. That's pretty awesome, I think.
Yeah, intelligent.
Yeah. Great. So that was maybe like a use case that I think that nonprofits might find useful. Um, have you got?
Duplications, like not duplicating stuff. Having
Sorry.
one contact like five
Yeah,
times.
yeah. That's the advantage of having a CRM, right? Like there's not in it lets you deduplicate records, which is useful. But I think I do understand that loads of nonprofits also use Google. I think Google has
Spreadsheet.
a
You know,
nonprofit
a
program.
lot of them still use spreadsheets because I'm telling you, CRMs, they are game changer, but a lot of them are pretty technical, like to deploy, to use. A lot of them just simply use spreadsheets for like managing a list of volunteers, managing customers, it means donors, like depending upon the size of the nonprofit. If they're small, they'll
Mhm.
just still use like tracking all the grant opportunities. I've seen like, so I've met so many of them, and each one of them is maintaining it on a spreadsheet,
Yeah,
like just tracking grants through the year, like applied, all of that, kind of stuff. So a lot of them still depend on spreadsheets.
Yep. And so we wanted to quickly show a demo of how agents could access spreadsheets and sort of help with spreadsheet management. So here's here's just a spreadsheet. It's just dummy data, but we've got donor names, email addresses, and you can tell that it's dummy data. They're all example.com. Then you've got sort of like a donation frequency. So do they donate monthly or irregular or one time or whatever? And then donation amounts that they've made. Um, so now let's say that you wanted to figure out who the top donors were. So all we need to do here is, because we've got our account connected, Google account, I'm just going to go ask, hey, I need to know who my top donors are. I've got a spreadsheet of donor information in Google Drive. Um, and what's the name of the spreadsheet? It's called, the file is named nonprofit donations. Okay, mm, yeah, so it's going to fetch some data from there, and it's going to actually perform a calculation and kind of come back to me with like the top donors. So I actually didn't specify how many top. So it decided that, oh, maybe I want to know about the top five. so so
Yeah. And then I guess the next step would be we can even ask them like to make dashboards and stuff like that, right, like just based on that spreadsheets, like above you can categorize the donations between 10,000 to like
yeah.
5,000, or individual donors don't really go beyond maybe 2,000, I don't know, or 5,000 max.
Hmm. And if you wanted to know, are they regular donors? Like, are these amounts over a period of time or once off? So you can just follow up with a question like, are these monthly or once off donations? And again, it's going to crunch the data and it's going to come back with, oops, an error. um,
But basically, you can just talk to your spreadsheet and get all the information that you want to
yeah,
get. You don't have to like create filters or different kind of things to view that data.
yeah, that's right. So
I
yeah,
see Nora. I don't know if do you remember Nora Noreen?
I do. Yes.
Yeah, I just saw her comment.
Okay. Where was that, on LinkedIn?
LinkedIn, yes.
Okay, cool. Um, was it a question for us?
No, it's just interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, Nora, for everyone who's on this live stream, Nora and I worked together in Singapore. Uh, I was working as head of fundraising for World Toilet Organization. They advocate for 2.6 billion people who do not have access to sanitation. And Nora is a nomad, and she happened to be in Singapore, and she worked for us. And I remember Nora and I designed a campaign, an advocacy campaign, and we had such a hard time because we obviously didn't have any of these tools with us. And we were like, literally, Nora's task was to design a really compelling campaign for us, and she came up with the idea of got toilets, like got milk. I still remember that. It was so funny. But the thing is, oh my gosh, we lived in that age where we had to like literally struggle. We didn't have a graphic designer. We didn't have access. We didn't have a big budget to go hire an agency. Like we had to literally do everything. And she was a volunteer, and I'm like, Nora, this is your task. You've got to design something for us.
Amazing. It's great to see that she's she's still going strong in the space.
No, this is amazing. I'm telling you, like, with Grant Orb, I happen to work with a lot of my people who use Grant Orb, like on one-on-one, and I see the executive directors struggle so much. Like they are struggling with every little thing. They barely get time to even put their heads up and look outside the window, because they're struggling with these kind of things, like
Mhm.
getting data from here and there, and just organizing stuff. Like,
Mm.
it's one of the organizations that use Grantorp, like they have been in existence for 20 years, but somehow they have not documented the impact to date. Like it's all over the place. It's in their financial reports. It's in some annual report here and there. You know how people come and go,
Mhm.
uh, and they don't have a consolidated, like, one page profile on who that organization is, which they know obviously, but what has the impact been to date? What are the
Mm.
different programs and services they've offered over 20 years? Because that's their track record, right? Like now when they're applying for grants, they have to show what they've done up
Mm.
to now, right? Because it builds on that. It gives trust to the donor, like they can trust this organization. And so all I did was put the name of that organization and where they're based in deep search,
Mhm.
Google's deep search. Uh, and they've been covered by a newspaper quite a bit. Like they are in the media, they are all over the place on the internet as well. It's just not consolidated.
Yeah.
And so Google Deep Research did a deep research on that organization and created like a beautiful report on what this organization does, why they started, what their mission is, their philosophy, the different programs and services. And I'm like, I hand it back to the ED. I'm like, all you got to do now is update these numbers. There were some numbers, and they, maybe they're not up to date, and all you got to do is
Yeah.
update the numbers. This is it. Got the report.
Mm. No, that's amazing. And well, you can turn that into a like two people podcast, right? As well.
Yeah. Oh,
Uh,
yeah. You can turn it into a podcast as well. Yes,
yeah,
I've done that.
which is not tacky. Like I loads of times when I need to read through some sort of financial report or something like that, just to make it interesting, I sort of end up using what is it called, Notebook LM, right?
Yes, Notebook LM.
Notebook LM.
Yes. But now they've got that feature of converting anything into an audio within Gemini. So if you do a deep research, you can convert that into an audio file, which you can listen to. And listening is so much better than reading. I've realized that. Like the way I learn has changed now since Notebook LM. I like anything that's technical or too lengthy. I don't read. I just use it. Like I convert it into an audio. I listen to it first, then I ask questions. You know,
Hmm.
and then it just gives me more targeted answers rather than me reading everything.
Yeah, and it's actually really interesting the way they've done it. It's not like, just like two people sort of. It's not monotonous. It's really interesting in the style. It's kind of funny as well sometimes. So
Casual, yeah, it's nice.
very casual.
So, Amit, my next question, like if anybody wants to build these AI agents, and knowing that most nonprofit people do not have the tech skill sets,
Mhm.
or they might have one person who kind of manages all the technical stuff within their organization, can they build simple agents themselves?
Yes, they can. So the tool that I demoed, we're going to open source it, and it'll be sort of self-service, but it's not going to be too hard to set it up to do what you want. Um,
Okay. So
the
what is it that they would need? What is it like? What are the different things they need to, say, set up a simple agent, say just an agent to talk to their spreadsheet?
Yeah. So what you'd need to do for that is you'd need to download the software, currently only for Mac, um, and we're going to put out a link to do that soon. And then you'd have to go and set up some API keys with Google Gemini, maybe OpenAI. or something like that. So someone with a little bit of IT background at a nonprofit, they should be able to set this up within like an hour or something like that. Um, and yeah, and that's pretty much it, really.
That's pretty incredible. Yeah, no, the future's going to be so different. Like the way I see, like there's a lot of struggle right now in, especially in the nonprofit space. We're struggling with everything, literally. But I've seen my life transform with AI. Like we're a micro team, right? And I'm doing almost everything in terms of, all the content, the reaching out, the customer service, and I spend a lot of time with every user. Like almost, I'm happy to spend an entire day with them if they want to, because I want to understand their pain points, right? Because I
Mm,
want to solve it with AI, especially around their grants and fundraising. So this is incredible. Like we use AI for everything. All the product demo videos, everything is AI. I don't have to worry about sitting in front of a camera, having lights on, or do I
yeah.
have a background or anything of that, because with AI you can just take your image, animate that image, and you can just type text and it converts into an audio, and that's it, your video is done. You don't need to do any post production editing or anything. Like I've done podcasts, and I know like how much
Mm,
editing after you've created a podcast, like oh my gosh, it is painful, just editing that podcast yourself. So it's a game changer, like before I used to use stock images. Now for my blog I just create instantly in like a microsecond, just before I'm about to publish. Like I need an image for this, go to Midjourney or go to Gemini and just create it, like. So it's so different now, it's
and
going to be amazing.
so yeah, so maybe for the audience, what sort of tools do you use on a day-to-day basis? Um, maybe people might be interested to know.
Are you asking me?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I use all the chatbots, so I'm not loyal to any. In between, I had actually, I ChatGPT was the first to come out, so I was like had a subscription for the longest period of time. But then I got really into cloud, so I canceled my ChatGPT subscription. But I picked it up again recently because I want to try the new models. So I'm back into ChatGPT. But at this point of time, all chatbots are kind of similar, in their terms of intelligence and their the things they can do. But I feel like if anybody is looking to like really subscribe to one, I would say Gemini gives you the most. Like it
Mm,
has really great models. You can do deep research. You can do that notebook. You get access to Notebook LM Pro. You have VO2 now, which I'm very excited about, to create videos. You can just describe and create videos. And then their Imagine 3 is amazing, which is for image creation. And they have like 5 or 6 list of different models that you can use from just Gemini. And I've used Gemini to create games, and I've never coded in my life before. Like that's something I thought I can only do it in my next life, because this life I gave up on coding. But I actually coded a game in one shot,
that's great.
multiple games. And the other day I was pushing out code changes to my website now. So my website, hopefully tomorrow it'll show up on the website. But I'm
Mhm.
actually, my engineers have set up AI dev environment on my laptop, and I'm using GitHub Copilot to just say, change the hero section, the subtitle to this, and it
Mhm.
changes. The code changes automatically. It
Yep.
flips and changes everything. So I'm doing website code changes now, which is great. So I feel very empowered. I don't have to go to them every time I want to make like one word changes on my website. So it's amazing. So obviously all chatbots. Then I was using HeyGen for making product demos. It's
Mm.
amazing. HeyGen is amazing. I use Midjourney. I've been a big fan of Midjourney since 2022. So I use them for image creation. They are the most artistic. I use Grok a lot. Like it has replaced my Google search, so I don't do Google search anymore. I just Grok it. Like if I need to find whatever information I need, I just use Grok. I find it more efficient. I don't have to go through multiple hundred links to figure out things.
Mm.
Grok is amazing for that, and Grant Orb if you're writing grants. What else? What tools do you use?
So so I've stopped buying. I don't know if I should say this, but I've stopped buying like birthday cards from a store, because
Okay.
what I do now is I go to Midjourney and I generate a card that is highly personalized, because I know, the person that I'm going to give it to. So it's got like this, cartoonish kind of theme usually to it, and it's personalized because it could come from a picture or whatever. And then I just go to a printer, get it printed on card paper, and people love that. so so yes, Mid Journey. And because I'm a developer, I use Cursor quite a bit. And just the speed and velocity of you know um, pushing a product out it's
Yeah.
maybe now 5, 6, 7x to
Yeah,
what it
no,
was
I've seen my engineers like write code while napping, you know. They're like, they've just given it a command and they're like, I'm taking a short nap. Oh, the code is done. I mean, all engineers are loving it, you know. I don't know why in my sector, like, there's still a debate about using AI or not. And they need AI more than anybody else on this planet, I'm telling you. The kind of work they do is mind blowing. You know, they have ambitious goals and massive visions and no tools. They have absolutely no tools, no manpower, you know. And so AI is a gift, and they're still debating whether to use AI or not. And on the other end, engineers are like, you know, maxing on AI.
Yeah, we're fully aware that we will probably be just be napping full time in a couple of years time. So
No, good engineers will always be needed. But anyways, the future jobs, you know, the World Economic Forum came out with what are the jobs of the future now in the age of
Mhm.
AI, and it was obviously a lot to do with social work, you know, like social
Mhm.
workers, therapists,
Yeah,
a lot of the ones that have the human uh, ness into it, like which requires
yeah.
human interaction, like one-on-one kind of interaction, and so it's good for nonprofits. Like AI is really great. Like it will free them to do the
To
work they signed
actually,
for. You
yeah,
know.
exactly. Because I think in the age of like automation and just a lot of content hitting you from every direction, I think what people will end up eventually craving more is just human contact.
Yeah,
So if you can free up your time from just like admin kind of stuff and give it to an AI and let the AI do the sort of heavy lifting for you, and the human basically does what humans are good at, which is
exactly,
yeah,
exactly. Humans were not supposed to be sitting on a
at a desk. Yeah,
at a desk for I don't know 8 9 hours and just working. You know, you can work life balance. Everything can will be restored once this embrace AI, and we are already seeing the difference. You know, we've designed an AI that is for a very specific task, and with grant, we are seeing people are like writing far more grants and with barely any effort. All they have to do is know the project that they're seeking funding for. You know, just being able to describe that project, and the AI does it for them. So it's literally no stress job for them now. You know, they just the day they have to submit, they write it that day itself. They don't even have to start planning weeks in advance. You know.
yeah, awesome.
Great. So I hope everyone enjoyed the conversation, and if
I know I
yeah,
enjoyed it. So
yeah, I enjoyed it too. So if you have any questions about you know, technical questions around AI agents and how to set up one, feel free to reach out to Amit.
100%. Yeah.
Uh,
And
and
we'll definitely post some stuff out. We'll post links to where you can download this software from, and we'll also probably follow up with like a getting started video. Maybe someone in IT at nonprofits could look that up and figure out how to set this up for their teams.
okay, great. So yeah, thanks for joining us today. That's it for now.
All right, thanks guys. See ya. Thanks, Deepa.
Yeah, thanks, Amit.
Bye.